The rain hammered the roof of the old craftsman house in Fremont like it was trying to drown out the secrets buried in its walls. Wyatt Harlan slammed the truck door shut, his boots splashing through puddles that mirrored the stormy Seattle sky, heart pounding from the text that had yanked him here. Emergency deployment. Watch Finn for me, please, Mason. And then, as he crossed the threshold into the dim foyer, a voice sliced through the downpour. A low, husky whisper that wasn't supposed to sound like that. Wyatt, you came. God. I thought you'd ghost me too. Wyatt froze, key still in the lock, the weight of that plea twisting like a knife in his gut. Finn Reed stood at the top of the stairs, shirtless in low-slung sweats, his lean frame etched with the fresh ink of a tattoo snaking up his ribs, a compass rose pointing nowhere safe. At 22, Finn was all sharp edges and shadowed eyes, olive skin glowing under the faint hallway light, a half-Mexican kid from the foster system who'd clawed his way into Mason's family like a storm no one saw coming. But it wasn't the vulnerability in his stance that hit Wyatt hardest. It was the hunger in his gaze, raw and unfiltered, like Finn had been starving for this moment longer than Wyatt dared admit. Wyatt dropped his duffel bag by the door, the thud echoing too loud in the silence that followed Finn's words. He forced a grin, the kind he'd perfected over years of bullshitting his way through bar shifts at the dive on Capitol Hill, but it felt brittle, like the rain-soaked porch railing outside. Ghost you? Come on, kid. Mason's my brother from another mother. I'd walk through hellfire for that guy. He shrugged off his jacket, hanging it on the hook where Mason's firefighting gear usually slumped, heavy with the scent of smoke and pine from their last camping trip up in the Olympics. But Finn didn't laugh. He descended the stairs with a predator's grace, each step deliberate, closing the distance until Wyatt could smell the faint trace of weed and sandalwood cologne clinging to his skin. Finn's eyes, dark brown, almost black in the low light, locked onto Wyatt's like they were mapping every fracture in his facade. Kid? Finn echoed, voice laced with that mocking edge that always made Wyatt's pulse stutter. I'm not a kid anymore, Wyatt. Haven't been since the day you and Mason pulled me out of that shithole group home in Tacoma. He stopped inches away, close enough that Wyatt could see the faint scar above his left eyebrow, a souvenir from a foster dad with a temper and a bottle. Finn's chest rose and fell a little too quickly, and Wyatt wondered if it was the same storm raging inside him, the one that had been brewing since that awkward summer 3 years ago, when Finn had shown up at their beach bonfire in West Seattle, all gangly limbs and defiant smirks, crashing into their world like a rogue wave. Wyatt cleared his throat, stepping back to create some air, some space that didn't feel charged with the kind of electricity that could burn a house down. Right? Yeah. Look, Mason said it'd be a week, tops. Some wildfire gig up north. I'll crash on the couch. Keep the place from flooding or whatever. You need anything? Groceries? That piece of shit motorcycle of yours tuned up. He busied himself with the kitchen, flipping on the light over the sink, where dishes from last night's takeout tie still cluttered the counter. Anything to avoid those eyes, which followed him like smoke. Finn leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, the tattoo flexing with the movement. What I need, he said softly, is for you to stop pretending like you don't see me. The words hung there, heavy as the humidity rolling in off the sound, and Wyatt's hand stilled on the faucet. He turned slowly, meeting that gaze head-on, and for a split second, the room narrowed to just the two of them, the rain a distant roar, the world outside irrelevant. Finn's lips quirked, not quite a smile, more like the ghost of one. But fine, play house. I'll be upstairs. Try not to dream about me. He vanished up the stairs then, leaving Wyatt gripping the counter edge, knuckles white, breath coming in shallow bursts. Dream about him? Christ, if only it were that simple. Wyatt had spent years building walls around the part of himself that noticed the way Finn's laugh cut through a crowded room, or how his hands, calloused from wrenching on cars at the shop in Ballard, moved with a quiet confidence that made Wyatt's skin hum. It was wrong. Mason had saved him, pulled Wyatt out of his own spiral after the divorce that left him adrift at 25, crashing on their couch until he clawed his way into a stable gig as a paramedic. Loyalty. That's what this was. Not the twist in his chest every time Finn brushed past him, accidental or not. The first night blurred into a haze of restless tossing on the lumpy sectional, the kind of sleep that came in fits, haunted by fragments. Finn's voice cracking on that whisper, the heat radiating off his bare skin. By morning, the rain had eased to a drizzle, turning the backyard into a slick mirror of evergreens and the neighbor's chain-link fence. Wyatt brewed coffee strong enough to strip paint, the aroma filling the house like a truce, and when Finn shuffled in, hair a wild mess, wearing an old mariner's hoodie that swallowed his frame, Wyatt slid a mug across the island without a word. "Thanks," Finn muttered, wrapping his hands around the ceramic, steam curling up like unspoken questions. He sipped, eyes flicking to Wyatt over the rim, and there it was again, that pull, magnetic and merciless. "So, what's the plan, babysitter? You gonna lecture me on curfews?" Wyatt snorted, leaning back against the fridge, arms folded to mirror Finn's stance from last night. It was a defense, a way to reclaim the upper hand. "No lectures. But if you're heading to the shop, I could use a ride. My truck's acting up, radiators on its last legs." It was a lie half-formed, but it bought time, kept him in the orbit without admitting he didn't want to be alone with his thoughts. Finn's eyebrows shot up, surprise flickering before it settled into something warmer, almost relieved. "Yeah, all right, but only if you promise not to cramp my style with the crew. They're a bunch of grease monkeys who'd eat you alive." He drained the coffee, setting the mug down with a clink that echoed too loudly in the quiet kitchen. As they shrugged on jackets and stepped out into the gray morning, Finn bumped Wyatt's shoulder. Casual, brotherly, the way Mason would. But his fingers lingered a beat too long on Wyatt's arm, tracing the seam of his flannel, and Wyatt's breath caught, the drizzle suddenly feeling like ice against his flushed skin. The ride to the auto shop in Ballard was a 10-minute torture of small talk and stolen glances. Finn's motorcycle purred beneath them, an old Harley he'd rebuilt from scrap, the engine's rumble vibrating through Wyatt's thighs where he gripped the sides of the seat. Seattle unfolded around them in smears of wet pavement and neon signs flickering to life. Coffee carts steaming on corners, ferries cutting through the choppy waters of Elliott Bay. Finn shouted questions over the wind, about Wyatt's last shift at the station, the call that had him stitching up a kid after a bike wreck, and Wyatt answered in bursts, grateful for the noise that drowned out the what-if screaming in his head. At the shop, a squat brick building wedged between a tattoo parlor and a laundromat, Finn introduced him to the crew. Jax, a burly vet with a buzz cut and a laugh like gravel. Lena, the only woman on the floor, her arms inked with floral sleeves and her wrench swinging like an extension of her will. They ribbed Finn about his bodyguard, and Wyatt played along, cracking jokes about Finn's cooking skills, burnt ramen being his specialty, until the tension in his shoulders eased. For a few hours it felt normal, almost easy. Handing tools, wiping grime from his hands, watching Finn bent over an engine block, sweat beading on his neck despite the chill. But normal cracked when Jax clocked out early, muttering about a date, leaving Wyatt and Finn alone in the bay, the overhead lights casting long shadows across the concrete. Finn straightened, wiping his forehead with the back of his hand, and caught Wyatt staring. "What?" he asked, voice low, stepping closer until the air between them thickened with oil and unspoken heat. Wyatt swallowed, forcing his eyes to the workbench. "Nothing. Just, you look good out here. Like you belong." It slipped out, honest in a way that terrified him, and Finn's response was a slow, devastating smile, the kind that promised trouble. "I do belong," Finn said, voice dropping to a murmur. "But not here. Not like this." He reached out then, fingers brushing Wyatt's wrist where grease had smeared, a touch so light it could have been wind. But it wasn't. Wyatt jerked back, heart slamming against his ribs, and the moment shattered like glass underfoot. "Knock it off, Finn," he said, sharper than he meant, grabbing his jacket from the hook. "This isn't. We're not." He trailed off, the words tangling in his throat, and stormed out into the dusk, the door banging shut behind him. The walk back to the house blurred into a mile of regret, rain starting up again, soaking through his shirt as he replayed that touch, the electric jolt of it, the way Finn's eyes had darkened with hurt. By the time he pushed through the front door, dripping and defeated, Finn was already there, sprawled on the couch with a beer in hand, the TV flickering some mindless action flick. He didn't look up, but the set of his jaw said everything. Wyatt hesitated in the doorway, water pooling at his feet, the silence stretching until it ached. "I'm sorry," Wyatt finally said, voice rough. "That came out wrong." Finn took a long pull from the bottle, eyes fixed on the screen. "Yeah, it did." But when he glanced over, there was no anger, just a quiet ache that mirrored Wyatt's own. They ordered pizza that night, ate in front of the fire Mason had installed last winter, the flames crackling like confessions neither was ready to make. Conversation skirted the edges. Stories from the shop, Wyatt's disastrous blind date with a nurse from work, Finn's latest tattoo sketch, a pair of wings unfurling from chains. Laughter came, tentative at first, then freer, until the empty boxes littered the coffee table and the beers had softened the corners. As the credits rolled, Finn stretched, his hoodie riding up to reveal a sliver of skin, and Wyatt's gaze snagged there, heat flooding his veins. "Night," Finn said, standing, but he paused at the base of the stairs, turning back. "For what it's worth, I wasn't trying to push, just tired of pretending." Wyatt nodded, words failing him, and watched Finn disappear upstairs. Alone with the dying embers, he buried his face in his hands, the weight of it all crashing down. Pretending, that's all he'd been doing for years. Pretending the flutter in his chest around Finn was just protectiveness, the stuff of big brothers. But it wasn't, and as sleep finally claimed him on the couch, dreams wove through the cracks. Finn's hands on his skin, mouths meeting in the rain, Mason's voice echoing like thunder. "What the hell are you doing to my family?" The days bled into each other, a rhythm of forced normalcy laced with undercurrents that pulled stronger each time. Mornings started with coffee and sidelong glances, afternoons at the shop where Finn's touches lingered. A hand on Wyatt's lower back guiding him through the bay, fingers grazing his as they shared a wrench. Evenings were movie marathons on the couch, knees brushing, the space between them shrinking until Wyatt could feel the heat off Finn's body like a fever. On the fourth night, the storm hit hard, winds howling off the sound, branches snapping against the windows like accusations. Power flickered, then died, plunging the house into darkness broken only by the flashlight on Wyatt's phone. Finn appeared in the living room doorway, blanket draped over his shoulders, eyes wide in the beam's glow. "Can't sleep," he admitted, voice small in a way that twisted Wyatt's heart. "Storms always. Bring it back." Wyatt knew the nights in foster homes where thunder masked the sounds of fights downstairs, the fear that tomorrow might mean a new bed, a new hell. Without thinking, he patted the couch beside him. "Come here. I got you." Finn slid in close, closer than necessary, their shoulders pressing as the wind raged. Wyatt draped an arm around him, meant to be comforting. But the way Finn leaned into it, head tipping onto Wyatt's shoulder, turned it into something else. They sat like that for what felt like hours, the storm a symphony to their silence, until Finn's breathing evened out, soft and trusting. Wyatt didn't move, didn't dare, even as his own pulse thundered, the scent of Finn's hair, shampoo and salt, filling his lungs. When the lights buzzed back on at dawn, Finn stirred, lifting his head with a sleepy smile that stole Wyatt's breath. "Thanks," he whispered, and for a moment, their faces were inches apart, lips so close Wyatt could taste the promise on Finn's exhale. Then Finn pulled back, standing with a stretch that belied the flush on his cheeks, and the moment slipped away like smoke. But it lingered, that almost kiss, coloring every interaction after. Wyatt found excuses to touch, clapping Finn on the back after a good shift, ruffling his hair when he dozed off during a game on TV. Finn reciprocated, bolder now. a thumb brushing Wyatt's jaw while wiping away a smudge of dirt. A knee nudged against his under the dinner table. The house felt smaller, the air thicker, charged with the inevitability of collision. It happened on the 6th day, Mason still radio silent except for a curt text, all good. Extend if needed. Wyatt had just gotten off a double shift, muscles aching from hauling gear on a multi-car pileup on I-5, when he found Finn in the backyard, shirtless again. Rain from an afternoon shower glistening on his skin as he tinkered with the motorcycle under the eaves. The sight stopped Wyatt cold. Finn's body a map of resilience, scars faint but telling, the compass tattoo pointing toward his heart. "You're soaked," Wyatt said, voice gravelly from disuse, tossing Finn a towel from the laundry line. Finn caught it, grinning that devilish grin, but his eyes were serious. "So are you. Long day." He toweled off, movements slow, deliberate, until he stepped forward, closing the gap. "Let me help." Before Wyatt could protest, Finn's hands were on him, rubbing the towel over his arms, his chest, the touch firm and unyielding. Heat bloomed under Wyatt's skin, traitorous and insistent, and when Finn's fingers skimmed his collarbone, Wyatt grabbed his wrist. Not to stop him, but to hold on. Their eyes met, the world narrowing to the patter of residual rain and the hitch in their breaths. "Finn," Wyatt breathed, a warning and a plea. "Don't," Finn said, voice fierce. "Don't say my name like that unless you mean it." And then he surged forward, lips crashing into Wyatt's with the force of all the pent-up storms between them. The kiss was everything. Desperate, devouring. Finn's hands fisting in Wyatt's shirt as tongues tangled, bodies pressing close until there was no air, no space, just the raw need of it. Wyatt kissed back, hands roaming Finn's back, tracing the ink, the scars, pulling him tighter as if he could merge them into one. It tasted of salt and sin, of years denied, and when they broke apart, gasping, foreheads pressed together, Wyatt's world tilted. "This can't," he started. But Finn silenced him with another kiss, softer this time, laced with the vulnerability that undid him. "It can," Finn murmured against his mouth. "It has to." They stumbled inside, the door clicking shut like a vow, and up the stairs to Finn's room, where clothes shed like inhibitions, bodies entwining on sheets that smelled of home. It was frantic at first, then slow, exploratory. Wyatt learning the map of Finn's skin with lips and hands, Finn arching under him with gasps that echoed in Wyatt's soul. They moved together, a rhythm born of longing, climax crashing over them like waves on the rocky shores of Alki Beach. After, tangled in sweat-damp sheets, Finn traced lazy patterns on Wyatt's chest, voice hushed. "I've wanted this since I was 18. Watched you with Mason laughing over beers and thought, if I could just make you see me." Wyatt's throat tightened, guilt threading through the afterglow. "I saw you. Always did. But Mason, he's family." Finn propped up on an elbow, eyes searching. "And I'm not? Or is it because of this?" He gestured between them, the air still humming. Wyatt pulled him close, burying his face in Finn's neck. "It's everything. You're everything I shouldn't want." But want it he did, fiercely, as the night deepened. They talked then, really talked. Finn unspooling stories of foster hells, the day Mason signed the papers to make him legal family. Wyatt confessing the loneliness that lingered after his ex walked out, the fear of being unlovable. Dawn crept in, painting the room gold, and for the first time in years, Wyatt felt anchored, not adrift. The weeks stretched into 10 days. Mason's absence a fragile bubble they floated in. Mornings blurred into lazy kisses over coffee. Afternoons stolen in the shop's back room, where Finn would pull Wyatt into the storage closet for heated makeouts that left them breathless and grinning. Evenings were theirs. Cooking disasters that ended in laughter. Walks along the Burke-Gilman Trail where hands intertwined under the cover of dusk. Whispers of futures neither dared voice. But the bubble thinned. Wyatt's phone buzzed with updates from the station, reminders of the world outside, and Finn's sketches piled up, wings evolving into full birds in flight, symbols of escape. One night, as they lay on the living room rug, fire dying low, Finn asked the question that had loomed unspoken. What happens when he comes back? Wyatt's heart stuttered. We tell him, together, he's a good guy. He'll understand. Finn's laugh was bitter, fingers tightening on Wyatt's. Understand? The brother he saved, screwing the kid he saved? Yeah, that'll go great. Wyatt rolled to face him, cupping Finn's jaw. Hey, we're not screwing. This is real. Finn's eyes softened, but doubt lingered. Prove it, then. Stay. After. I will, Wyatt promised, sealing it with a kiss that tasted of forever. The bubble burst on a Tuesday, unceremonious as a flat tire. Wyatt was elbow-deep in the fridge, scrounging for eggs to scramble, when his phone lit up on the counter. Mason's name flashing like a warning flare. He wiped his hands on a dish towel, heart kicking up, and answered on the third ring. Harlan here. You back early, man? Mason's voice crackled through, rough with fatigue but alive with that easy warmth. Yeah, flights got rerouted, touching down at Seattle-Tacoma in 2 hours. Fires contained, lost a couple structures, but no casualties. Oh, you big for holding down the fort. How's Finn? He burned the place down yet? Wyatt's gaze flicked to the stairs, where Finn was still asleep, sheets twisted around his waist from their late night. The memory of it. Finn's moans soft against Wyatt's ear, bodies slick and urgent. Flooded back, guilt sharp as broken glass. Nah, he's good. Shop's keeping him busy. We'll grab burgers when you land. Celebrate. They hung up, and Wyatt stood there, staring at the phone like it had grown teeth. 2 hours. 60 minutes to shatter everything. He climbed the stairs quietly, slipping into Finn's room, the morning light slanting through blinds to paint stripes across his bare back. Wyatt sank onto the edge of the bed, hand ghosting over Finn's shoulder, waking him with a gentle shake. Finn stirred, blinking up with that sleepy haze that made Wyatt's chest ache. Time is it? He mumbled, reaching out to pull Wyatt down. Time to get up, Wyatt said, voice strained. Mason's coming home. Early. The words landed like stones in still water, ripples spreading across Finn's face. Shock, then resignation, then something fiercer, like resolve. He sat up, sheets pooling at his hips, running a hand through his hair. Shit. Okay. So, we tell him. Wyatt nodded, throat tight. Yeah. Tonight. After we eat. Make it. Normal first. Finn searched his eyes, then leaned in for a kiss, soft, lingering, a talisman against the storm. I love you, he whispered against Wyatt's lips, the words slipping out unbidden, hanging in the air like fragile glass. Wyatt froze, the confession a spark to dry tinder. Love. It was too soon, too vast, but God, it fit. The way Finn had cracked him open, filled the hollows. Yeah, me too. He kissed him back, deeper, pouring everything he couldn't say into it, hands framing Finn's face as if to memorize. They dressed in silence, the house suddenly too small, every corner echoing with their stolen moments. The kitchen counter where Finn had perched, legs wrapped around Wyatt's waist, the couch where they'd first crossed the line. Breakfast was eggs and toast, eaten standing up, elbows brushing, eyes meeting over coffee mugs with promises and fears. Finn headed to the shop first, kissing Wyatt goodbye at the door, a quick press of lips, thumb stroking his cheek. See you tonight, whatever happens. We face it. Wyatt nodded, watching the Harley roar to life, disappearing into the drizzle-veiled streets. He spent the morning cleaning, a frantic ritual to impose order on chaos. Vacuuming crumbs from under the couch, scrubbing the bathroom sink where Finn's razor still lay, fogged with use. It was futile, this tidying of surfaces when the real mess churned inside. The betrayal of it, lying to Mason, the man who'd been his rock when his world crumbled. But then he'd think of Finn's laugh, the way he fit against Wyatt's side like a missing piece, and the guilt warred with a fierce protectiveness. By noon, Wyatt was at the station, picking up an extra shift to burn off the jitters, but his mind wandered, replaying Finn's confession, the L word echoing like a heartbeat. Love. He'd said it back without hesitation, and now it anchored him, a lifeline in the rising tide. The calls came steady. A diabetic shock at a coffee shop in Belltown, an asthma attack in a high-rise, each adrenaline spike a brief reprieve. But between, his phone buzzed. Texts from Finn. Miss you already. Cruz asking about you. A photo. Finn grinning in the bay, grease-streaked and beautiful. Wyatt's thumbs hovered, typing love you too before deleting it, settling on be safe. Mason's truck rumbled into the driveway just as Wyatt pulled up, the sun breaking through clouds in a mocking halo. Mason unfolded from the cab, all broad shoulders and stubble-shadowed jaw, duffel slung over one arm. At 32, he was the steady one, firefighter through and through, with hazel eyes that missed nothing and a grin that could disarm a bomb. Harlan! He boomed, pulling Wyatt into a bear hug that smelled of airplane coffee and charred earth. You look like hell. Finn run you ragged. Wyatt laughed, clapping his back, the lie smooth on his tongue. Something like that. Come on, let's unload. They hauled gear inside, Mason regaling him with war stories from the blaze. Flames leaping 30 feet, the choppers dumping retardant like red rain. Finn arrived 20 minutes later, Harley growling to a stop, helmet tucked under his arm as he sauntered in. The air shifted the second he crossed the threshold, eyes locking on Wyatt's for a beat too long before sliding to Mason. Bro, Finn said, voice steady as he hugged Mason tight, the embrace lingering in a way that twisted Wyatt's gut. Missed you. Place didn't burn down, but close. Mason ruffled his hair, oblivious. Knew I could count on you too. Wyatt, you're a saint. Pizza? My treat. Dinner was at their usual spot, a hole in the wall in Finney Ridge with checkered tables and pies the size of hubcaps. They crammed into a booth, Mason in the middle like a buffer, stories flowing easy. Finn exaggerating a botched oil change, Wyatt downplaying a station prank. Laughter came, genuine at first, but Wyatt's smiles felt painted on. His knee inches from Finn's under the table, the contact a secret spark. Finn's foot nudged his once, accidental on purpose, and Wyatt nearly choked on his soda, shooting him a warning glance that Finn met with a wink, bold as brass. Back home, the reckoning loomed. They settled in the living room, beers cracked, the TV droning some documentary on wildfires as camouflage. Mason stretched out on the recliner, feet up, blissfully unaware. So spill. Anything juicy while I was gone? Finn finally asked out that barista from the cafe. Finn tensed beside Wyatt on the couch, his thigh pressing warm against Wyatt's. Nah, too busy. His hand found Wyatt's in the shadows, fingers intertwining, a silent now or never. Wyatt took a swig of beer, the cold liquid stealing him. Actually, Mason, we gotta talk. Mason's brow furrowed, remote pausing the TV. Yeah? What's up? You two look like you saw a ghost. Finn squeezed Wyatt's hand, and the words tumbled out, halting at first, then steady. The watch, the pull, the kiss that changed everything. Wyatt spoke of the guilt, the fear, how he'd fought it until he couldn't. Finn added his piece, voice raw. The longing since day one, the ache of being invisible, the love that had bloomed fierce and unyielding. Silence crashed down, thick and suffocating. Mason's face cycled through shock, confusion, betrayal, eyes darting between them like he was piecing together a crime scene. You're... what? Finn, He cut off, standing abruptly, chair scraping. Wyatt, you were supposed to watch him, protect him, not this. It's not like that. Finn shot back, rising too, hands slipping from Wyatt's. I wanted it. I love him. Mason's laugh was hollow, pained. Love? You're 22, Finn. I'm the one who changed your diapers, figuratively, sure, but still. And you, Wyatt? After everything, I trusted you. The words landed like punches, each one cracking the foundation. Wyatt stood, palms out. I know.
Goo, Mason, I'm sorry.
But it's real. We didn't plan. Save it. Mason grabbed his keys from the hook, face stormy. I need air. Don't. Just don't. The door slammed, truck engine roaring to life, taillights fading into the night. Finn sank back onto the couch, head in hands, shoulders shaking. Wyatt pulled him close, murmuring nonsense. It's okay. He'll come around. But the doubt gnawed. They clung to each other that night, sex absent, just bodies entwined against the cold seep of regret. Sleep came fitful, dreams fractured by Mason's voice, echoing accusations. Morning brought no truce. Mason crashed on the couch downstairs, face haggard, coffee brewing like a barrier. He nodded curtly when Wyatt entered the kitchen, but conversation died in the throat. Polite grunts over toast, eyes averted. Finn stayed upstairs, claiming a headache, but Wyatt heard the shower running too long, the silence too heavy. The next days were a minefield. Mason threw himself into overtime shifts, the house emptying early, returning late with takeout and monosyllables. Wyatt and Finn tiptoed around him, stolen moments in the backyard or quick kisses in the garage. But the joy had soured, laced with the poison of division. Whispers turned to arguments. Finn pushing to confront, Wyatt urging patience, the rift widening like a fault line. It cracked wide on Friday, after a call yanked Mason out at midnight. A structure fire downtown. Wyatt paced the kitchen, Finn watching from the table, worry etching his face. He'll be fine, Wyatt said, more to himself, pulling Finn into his arms. They made love on the counter then, urgent and reclaiming, bodies a rebellion against the fracture. But dawn brought news. Mason injured, smoke inhalation, overnight at Harborview. They raced to the hospital, hands clasped in the waiting room, the sterile hum a stark counterpoint to their turmoil. When they were allowed in, Mason lay propped up, oxygen mask dangling, eyes red-rimmed but sharp. You came, he rasped, voice weak. Always, Finn said, gripping the bed rail, tears spilling. Mason looked between them, exhaustion stripping the armor. I overreacted. It's just, you're my family, both of you. Seeing it like this hit hard. Wyatt nodded, throat burning. We get it, but we're not going anywhere. A ghost of a smile tugged Mason's lips. Yeah, I see that now. Just give me time. Promise me you'll be careful. With each other. They promised, the words a bridge, tentative but real. Recovery blurred into weeks. Mason homebound, gruff but thawing, movie nights resuming with awkward silences giving way to jokes. Finn's touches lingered openly now, a hand on Wyatt's knee during dinners, and Mason's glances softened, acceptance creeping in like ivy. But peace was illusory. One evening, as summer heat thickened the air, Wyatt's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Saw you with the kid. Mason no? A friend. Attached. A blurry photo from the shop, Finn's arm around Wyatt's waist. Panic spiked, cold and vicious. Who? How? He showed Finn, face paling. Leak from the crew? Jax. The betrayal stung. A shadow over their fragile harmony. Mason, sensing the shift, confronted them over beers on the porch. What's eating you too? Wyatt handed over the phone, the admission spilling. The photo, the fear of exposure. Mason's jaw tightened, but not in anger at them. I'll handle it. Family sticks. True to word, he did quiet inquiries at the station, a word to Jax that shut down the whispers. The photo vanished, but the scar lingered, a reminder of the world's sharp edges. As fall leaves turned Fremont streets to gold, their love deepened roots. Finn enrolled in community college, sketching designs for a tattoo apprenticeship. Wyatt pushed for promotion, stability for us. Mason dated a dispatcher from work, his laughter filling the house again, a brother reclaiming his place. Yet undercurrents stirred. Finn's sketches darkened, birds caged, wings clipped, and Wyatt caught him staring at apartment listings online, whispers of independence masking fear of loss. "What's wrong?" Wyatt asked one night, tracing the compass on his ribs. Finn's eyes were stormy. "Nothing. Just, what if this breaks us? Mason's okay now, but the world." Wyatt pulled him close. "It won't. We're stronger." But doubt seeded, blooming in quiet moments. A fight erupted over nothing. Finn late from class, Wyatt's worry twisting to accusation, and words flew like shrapnel. "You think I can't handle myself? I just want you safe." They made up in bed, bodies mending what words tore, but the fracture hummed. Climax brewed on All Hallows Eve, Fremont streets alive with costumed revelers, the annual torchlight parade winding through like a river of fire. They went as a trio, Mason as a zombie firefighter, Finn a punk angel with real wings strapped on, Wyatt a reluctant devil in horns and red flannel. Laughter flowed with spiced cider, the crowd a buffer against tensions. But as fireworks cracked overhead, Finn pulled Wyatt into an alley, kissing him fierce under the bursts. "Marry me," Finn gasped, half joking, ring imagined from a gumball machine. Wyatt laughed, heart full. "Someday." But Mason saw, from across the street, the kiss, the intimacy, and something shifted in his eyes, old hurt resurfacing. He confronted them later at home, voice low. "I thought I was past it, but seeing you, it reminds me. I lost Dad young, Mom bailed. You two are all I got. And now you're choosing." "We're not choosing over you," Finn pleaded. "You're family. Always." Mason shook his head, tears glinting. "But it feels like it. I need space. Maybe move out. Both of you." The betrayal cut deepest. Mason's withdrawal, the home they'd rebuilt fracturing under his pain. Wyatt packed that night, duffel heavy with regret, Finn's tears hot on his neck. "We'll find our place," Wyatt vowed. Together, they crashed at a motel off Aurora, the neon buzz a poor substitute for hearth. Days turned to apartment hunts in Capitol Hill, vibrant with rainbow flags and cafe buzz, a fresh start. But Mason's silence stretched, texts unanswered, the rift a chasm. Reconciliation came unexpected, a call from the station. Mason in a wreck, minor, but shaken. Wyatt and Finn arrived at the ER, hands clasped, to find him bandaged, eyes haunted. "I was stupid," Mason admitted, voice breaking. "Drove angry, thought I was protecting. But I pushed you away." Hugs followed, messy and real, forgiveness a balm. "Stay," Mason said, "but get your own place eventually. Build your life." They did. A cozy walk-up in Queen and views of the Sound, walls soon papered with Finn's art. Love flourished, unshadowed. Lazy Sundays in bed, Finn's apprenticeship blooming, Wyatt's promotion sealing security. Mason visited, bringing takeout and stories, the trio mending into something new, brothers, lovers, chosen kin. Yet the story lingered, a tapestry of scars and stars. In quiet nights, Wyatt traced Finn's tattoo, whispering thanks for the pull that led here. Freedom, they learned, wasn't absence of chains, but weaving them into wings. Compassion bridged the breaks, identity forged in fire. And in Seattle's endless rain, they bloomed human, flawed, eternally linked. The new apartment smelled of fresh paint and possibility. A second-floor walk-up on Queen and Hill where the Olympics loomed like benevolent giants across the water. Wyatt hauled the last box up the narrow stairs, sweat beading on his brow despite the November chill seeping through the cracks. Finn waited at the top, leaning against the doorframe in a faded band tee and jeans that hugged his hips just right, a smirk playing on his lips as he snapped a photo with his phone. "Looking good, mover man. Bet you could bench press me next." Wyatt set the box down with a grunt, pulling him in by the belt loop for a kiss that started playful and deepened into something hungrier. Hands roaming under fabric, breaths mingling with the scent of cardboard and rain-damp streets below. Tempting, he murmured against Finn's neck, nipping lightly. But Mason's due any minute with the pizza. Save the heavy lifting for later. Finn laughed, low and throaty, shoving him back with mock indignation. Tease. Fine, I'll unpack the kitchen. You handle the bedroom. Fitting, right? His wink was pure mischief, eyes sparkling with that unfiltered joy that still caught Wyatt off guard, like sunlight piercing Seattle's perpetual overcast. The place was small, a galley kitchen opening to a living room with windows framing the hill's eclectic mix of Victorians and modern condos. A bedroom just big enough for a queen mattress and dreams. They'd furnished it thrift style. A sagging couch from a garage sale in Ballard, bookshelves scavenged from curbside pickups, Finn sketches pinned to walls like flags of conquest. It wasn't the Craftsman, with its creaky floors and shared history, but it was theirs, a canvas blank and begging. Mason arrived 20 minutes later, arms laden with 2 steaming boxes from Pagliacci's and a 6-pack of local IPA. His limp was barely noticeable now, a remnant of the wreck that had forced the reckoning, but his grin was full wattage as he kicked the door shut. Honey, I'm home. You lovebirds set up camp yet? Or still humping like rabbits in the hallway? Finn snatched a box, rolling his eyes. Jealous, bro? Get your own. How's the dispatcher? Still making you blush? Mason dropped the beer on the counter, popping a top with practiced ease. Sarah? Yeah, she's something. Took me hiking up to Discovery Park yesterday. Nearly killed me on the bluff trail. He glanced around, assessing, and for the first time, there was no undercurrent of strain, just genuine warmth. Place looked solid, cozy. You two deserve it. They ate cross-legged on the floor, pizza grease staining fingers, stories tumbling out like old times. Finn's latest tattoo client, a burly trucker who cried over a portrait of his late dog. Wyatt's shift saving a window washer dangling from a skyscraper in Pioneer Square. Mason's awkward third date, where Sarah outate him at a dim-sum spot in the ID. Laughter echoed off bare walls, easy and unforced, the bond reforged in the fire's aftermath. As night fell, Mason hugged them both at the door, fierce, lingering. Proud of you idiots. Call if you need shelves assembled or whatever. Love ya. The door clicked shut, and Finn turned to Wyatt, eyes soft in the lamplight. See? We're good. Wyatt pulled him close, foreheads touching. Yeah, we are. That first week was a honeymoon haze. Mornings tangled in sheets, coffee brewing while Finn sketched at the breakfast bar. Wyatt's shifts offset to steal afternoons exploring their neighborhood. The locks at Shillshole Bay, where salmon leaped in engineered falls. Kerry Park for sunset views of the skyline. Space Needle piercing the dusk like a needle in velvet. They cooked together, disasters turning to triumphs. Finn's enchiladas spicy enough to water eyes. Wyatt's grilled salmon flaky and perfect, paired with wine from a corner market. But under the bliss, echoes lingered. Finn's phone buzzed one evening with a text from an old foster contact. News of a kid in the system, spiraling like he once had. Finn's face shuddered, fork pausing mid-air. Another one, 14 caught boosting cars. Sounds just like me at that age. Wyatt reached across the table, thumb stroking his knuckles. You want to reach out? Mentor or something? Finn's smile was wry. Maybe. Mason's always pushing that big brother crap. But what if I screw it up? Show him how to hotwire a Harley instead of, life skills. They talked late into the night, Finn unspooling the threads of his past. Nights in juvie, the foster mom who baked cookies but locked the fridge, the social worker who promised better but delivered nothing. Wyatt listened, heart aching, offering stories of his own. The divorce that left him questioning every choice. The dad who bailed for Vegas lights when Wyatt was 10. Vulnerability wove them tighter. Love a quiet revolution. Work pulled them in opposing directions. Wyatt's paramedic runs a carousel of chaos, sirens wailing through rush hour. Finn's apprenticeship at the shop evolving into late nights inking skin. His compass rose becoming a signature motif. Distance bred small phrase. A missed dinner, Wyatt collapsing into bed too exhausted for more than a chaste kiss. Finn coming home smelling of ink and stranger stories. Jealousy flickering unbidden when Wyatt asked about a client who flirted too freely. It boiled over on a rainy Thursday. Wyatt home first, dinner half-prepped when Finn burst in, soaked and fuming. Asshole at the shop, Jax's cousin, new hire. Kept joking about how I'd make a cute bottom. Like, what the fuck? Wyatt's blood heated, fork clattering to the plate. He say that? Name? I'll go down there. Finn waved him off, stripping his wet shirt, pacing the living room. No, it's not. It's just ignorant shit. But it got in my head. Made me think about us out there. What if it's always like this? Hiding, defending. Wyatt crossed to him, hands on his shoulders, grounding. Hey, we're not hiding. And screw anyone who doesn't get it. You're mine. That's all. Finn's eyes searched his, vulnerability cracking the anger. Promise? Even when it gets hard. Especially then. Wyatt kissed him slow, hands sliding under damp jeans, leading him to the bedroom where frustration melted into fire. Bodies urgent, reclaiming, Finn's nails raking Wyatt's back as they crested together, gasps mingling with rain against the window. After sated and spent, Finn traced Wyatt's jaw. I want to make it official. Not marriage, yet, but something. Vows, maybe. Just us. Wyatt's heart swelled. Yeah, let's. They wrote them the next weekend, on a blanket at Gasworks Park, relics of industry rusting under autumn sun. Words scrawled on notebook paper. I vow to see you, always, past the storms. To hold your scars like treasures. Simple, profound, exchanged with rings. Steel bands etched with tiny compasses, bought from a street artisan in Pike Place. Winter clamped down, holidays a test of new rhythms. Thanksgiving at Mason's, Sarah in tow. Her quick wit slotting her into the fold like she'd always been. Turkey carved with laughter, stories of childhood Thanksgivings. Mason's mom's lumpy gravy, Finn's cafeteria slop, Wyatt's dad's absentee calls. They toasted to kin, blood and chosen, the table a bulwark against old ghosts. Christmas brought snow, rare and magical, blanketing Queen and in hush. Finn's gift, a leather-bound sketchbook filled with portraits. Wyatt sleeping, Mason laughing, abstract wings for dreams unborn. Wyatt's, a custom Harley jacket, embroidered with their initials intertwined. Mason crashed the eve, bearing a tree he'd chopped from his buddy's lot upstate, ornaments clinking like bells as they decorated, eggnog loosening tongues. But joy shadowed with news. The foster kid, Mateo, reached out via Mason. 16 now, crashing on couches, asking for advice. Finn dove in, meeting him at a diner in Tacoma, Wyatt tagging along for moral support. Mateo's eyes, wary and wide, mirrored Finn's at that age, and over burgers, Finn shared truths. The pain, the pivot, the power in choosing family. It gets better, he said. Not easy, but better. Watching them, Wyatt felt the humanism swell. Love not just between them, but rippling out, a tide of compassion. Mateo texted later, thanks. First time someone's real with me. Spring unfurled, cherry blossoms dusting the U District like confetti. Finn's apprenticeship culminated in a solo piece. A full-back mural for Lena, wings erupting from a cage of thorns, symbolizing her sobriety journey. The reveal party at the shop buzzed with pride, beers flowing, toasts to Finn's talent. Wyatt cornered him in the back, kissing him against the wall. You're incredible. Finn grinned, breathless. Your muse. But undercurrents stirred anew. Wyatt's ex, Derek, surfaced via Facebook. A like on an old photo, then a message. Heard you're with someone. Happy for you. Coffee? Catch up. Innocuous, but it gnawed, stirring old insecurities. Finn saw the exchange, jealousy flaring. What's he want? Closure? Or to remind you of normal? Wyatt deleted it, pulling Finn close. Nothing. You're it. Yet the seed planted doubt, blooming in quiet arguments. Finn accusing Wyatt of lingering glances at station guys. Wyatt snapping at Finn's late nights with clients. Fights escalated, words weaponized. You think I'm ashamed? Then act like it. Ending in slammed doors and cold shoulders. Climax crested in May, during Pride Month's kickoff. A street fair in Capitol Hill, rainbows everywhere, the air electric with acceptance. They marched with Mason and Sarah, signs aloft. Love wins. But in the crowd's crush, Wyatt lost Finn's hand, panic spiking when minutes stretched. He found him against a mural, kissing a stranger. No, wait. The guy pulling away, Finn shoving him off, face flushed with fury. What the hell? Wyatt demanded, jealousy a blind rage. Finn whirled, eyes blazing. He grabbed me. I said no. But Wyatt's hurt overrode reason. Looked cozy. Maybe you're not as in as you say. The accusation hung, poisonous, and Finn's face crumpled. Fuck you. If you don't trust me. He stormed off, melting into the throng, leaving Wyatt adrift in celebration turned cacophony. Hours of texts, unread, led to Finn's apartment, door cracked, sobs echoing. Wyatt pushed in, finding him curled on the couch, sketchbook shredded. I'm sorry, he choked. I saw red. Old shit with Derek. Feeling not enough. Finn looked up, tear-streaked. You are enough. But trust. It's the chain. Gotta break it. They talked till dawn, raw and revealing. Finn's fear of abandonment, Wyatt's of inadequacy. Vows renewed, rings twisted in promise. We're free, Finn whispered. Together. Summer healed, outings mending. Kayaking on Lake Union, picnics in Volunteer Park, nights on the balcony watching fairies slice the dark. Finn's first gallery show. A series on identity, wings in flight drew crowds, Mason beaming from the front row. Wyatt proposed properly then, on one knee amid the art, ring glinting. Forever. Finn's yes was a sob, kiss ceiling. As leaves turned again, their story settled. Not ended, but evolved. Betrayal's echoes faded, compassion's light enduring. In America's heartlands of hurt and hope, they stood. Authentic, unbound. A testament to love's quiet revolution. The engagement ring caught the light like a captured star. A simple platinum band with a black diamond, subtle, unbreakable, just like them. Finn twisted it on his finger during breakfast, the motion hypnotic as Wyatt flipped pancakes in their kitchen. The sizzle a soundtrack to domestic bliss. Still can't believe you dropped to one knee in the middle of my show. Half the crowd thought it was performance art. Wyatt slid a plate over, syrup dripping golden. Had to make it epic. You're worth the spectacle. He leaned across the island for a kiss, sticky sweet, morning breath be damned, hands cupping Finn's face to deepen it until the pancakes cooled forgotten. Finn pulled back, grinning, eyes crinkling at the corners. Save it for the wedding, hotshot. Mason's swinging by for planning. Says Sarah's got ideas. Something about a beach thing in West Seattle. Wyatt groaned, but fondly, settling beside him. As long as it's not eloping to Vegas. Mason'd never forgive us for stealing his thunder. The wedding loomed like a beacon, 6 months out, slotted for a crisp June day on Alki Beach. Waves lapping, Olympics as backdrop. The city skyline a distant cheer. Invites went out to a tight circle. Station buddies, shop crew, a smattering of Foster's Mason mentored. Mateo tagging along as Finn's unofficial best man. Planning sessions turned chaotic fun. Mason vetoing tacky tuxes for linen shirts and bare feet. Sarah curating playlists of indie folk that made Finn tear up. But under the excitement, undercurrents swirled. Wyatt's shifts intensified. A promotion to lead paramedic meaning more oversight, less field time. The desk work chafing like ill-fit boots. He'd come home drained, collapsing on the couch while Finn buzzed with apprentice tales. The imbalance breeding quiet resentments. You listen to me? Finn said one night, straddling Wyatt's lap, hands framing his face. But I see you fading. Talk. Wyatt sighed, fingers tracing Finn's thighs. Just pressure. Captain's writing me about protocols, and with the wedding. Feels like I'm juggling grenades. Finn kissed his forehead, nose, lips, soft absolutions. Then let me catch him. We're a team. The gesture anchored, but cracks spiderwebbed. Finn's gallery exposure drew interest. A solo exhibit in Portland. Overnight trip that Wyatt encouraged but dreaded. The bed cold without him. Texts flew. Miss your snoring. Bed's too big. Dreaming of you. Hurry home. But a voicemail from the shop. Jack's covering a shift. Finn's voice tired. Stirred phantom doubts. Echoes of pride's misunderstanding. Return brought makeup sex that scorched. Bodies a battlefield of need. But words lingered unspoken. Then, betrayal's ghost resurfaced. Derek, Wyatt's ex, RSVP'd yes to the wedding. Wouldn't miss it. Congrats. Polite, but the subtext hummed. Nostalgia. Perhaps curiosity about the someone who'd tamed Wyatt. Finn found the invite in the stack, face neutral but eyes stormy. You invite him? Wyatt shook his head, pulling him close. No, he must have gotten wind from mutuals. I can uninvite. Don't. Finn's jaw set, but his voice softened. It's your past. Just no secrets. The promise hung, tested when Derek arrived early for a pre-wedding coffee, neutral ground at a cafe in Fremont, Wyatt's olive branch to bury hatchets. Conversation stayed light. Old station gossip, Derek's new life in Tacoma, a bartender gig and therapy breakthroughs. But as they hugged goodbye, Derek's hand lingered on Wyatt's back, a whisper. You look happy. He must be special. Wyatt pulled away, unease prickling. He is. Home, confession spilled. Finn listening stone-faced, then nodding. Okay, but if he pulls shit at the wedding. The threat trailed, love's edge sharpened. June dawned golden, the ceremony a dream woven real. Alky's sand warm underfoot, waves a gentle chorus, 50 guests in a semicircle facing the officiant. A queer elder from the community center, voice rich with stories of unions forged in fire. Mason walked Finn down an aisle of driftwood, eyes suspiciously bright, Sarah dabbing tears beside a beaming Mateo. Wyatt waited, heart thundering. In a white shirt rolled to elbows, khakis cuffed, the ring box a weight in his pocket. Vows echoed the park ones, amplified. Finn's voice cracking on I choose you. Every scar and storm. Wyatt's steady you're my compass, always pointing home. Rings exchanged, kiss ceiling salt-tanged, applause crashing like waves. Reception sprawled on blankets, food trucks belting tacos and craft brews, a bonfire crackling as dusk fell. Derek approached then, glass raised. Beautiful, to love. His eyes held no malice, just quiet envy, and when he clapped Wyatt's shoulder, it was brotherly. Finn watched from across the fire, tension easing into a nod, trust reaffirmed. But climax shadowed joy. Midway through dances, Finn twirling Wyatt to an acoustic cover of Hosier. Bodies close, world narrowed. A call pierced the night. Mason, voice slurred from too many drinks, sobbing on the line. Sarah. She left. Said I'm too. Stuck. In the past. They found him at the house, slumped on the porch, bottle in hand. Finn knelt first, prying it away. Hey, talk. Mason's dam broke. Stories of Sarah's frustrations. His walls built high from loss. Fear of vulnerability pushing her out. You too. You fight for it. I just... Hold on. Wyatt sat beside, arm around shoulders. Then let go a little. We're here. Dawn found them three on the couch. Coffee bitter but bonding. Mason's tears drying to resolve. Therapy time. Sarah perhaps a chapter, not the book. Don't let me drag you down, he said, hugging fierce. Your night's ruined. Finn shook his head. Nah, it's complete. Family fixes the breaks. Honeymoon called. A cabin in the Cascades. Rented via Mason's connections. Evergreens whispering secrets. Days blurred. Hikes to waterfalls. mist-kissing skin. Nights in a hot tub under stars, bodies lazy with wine and want. They made love slow, exploratory. Finn's hands mapping Wyatt anew, whispers of husband like incantations. Back in Seattle, life resumed amplified. Joint bank account, Finn's exhibit tour, Wyatt's lead role stabilizing. But conflict brewed subtle. Mason's spiral deepening, drinks multiplying, shifts missed. Intervention came gentle. A night at their place, Finn cooking comfort food, Wyatt laying out resources. "We're not losing you," Wyatt said. Mason nodded, eyes haunted. "Trying. For you." Summer waned. Fall painting leaves fire orange. Finn's Portland show soared, reviews praising his raw humanism, wings as metaphors for queer resilience. Wyatt beamed from the audience, pride swelling. But a gallery scout dangled opportunity. A residency in New York, 6 months, expenses covered. Finn's excitement warred with dread. "It's huge, but leaving you."
Vyat's gut twisted.
"Go. We'll visit. It's your wings." Arguments followed. Finn accusing selfishness masked as support. Wyatt snapping at the distance's threat. "What if it changes us?" Finn yelled, one night pots clanging. "Then we change together," Wyatt countered, pulling him into a hug that dissolved to tears. Decision hung, resolved in therapy. Joint sessions unpacking fears, compassion's tool. Finn accepted, shortened to 3 months. Wyatt planning flights. "Adventure," he kissed. "Ours." Winter holidays healed further. Joint trip to Tahoe with Mason, snowboarding and fireside truths. Sarah's absence a scar but not festering. New Year's on their balcony. Fireworks over the sound. Toasts to reinvention. Spring brought bloom. Finn's return, portfolio bursting. Wyatt's surprise promotion party at the station. Betrayal's old specter? Banished. Love's depth? Unfathomable. Yet humanity's thread wove on Mateo's graduation. Finn walking him, tears shared. In America's mosaic of ache and ascent, they thrived. Free in identity, bound by truest compassion. New York's pull on Finn was like the city's pulse itself. Relentless, intoxicating. A siren song of galleries and grit that echoed in his late-night calls from a Bushwick loft sublet. Wyatt paced their queen and apartment. Phone pressed to ear. The 3-hour difference of thief-stealing moments. "Tell me about the opening," he urged, sinking onto the bed. Sheets still indented from where Finn had packed. Finn's voice crackled with exhaustion and elation. "Crowded as hell. Some critic from the Times called my wings a queer odyssey in ink. Sold 3 pieces, enough to cover rent here for a year." A pause, then softer. "Miss you. Bed's empty without your sprawl." Wyatt's laugh was half moan, hand scrubbing his face. 3 weeks down, 9 to go. Stations kicking my ass, training newbies who faint at blood. But hey, saved a puppy from a storm drain today. Hero points. They lingered, whispers turning intimate. Finn describing a rooftop party, the skyline glittering like promises. Wyatt sharing a quiet dinner with Mason, who was dating again, cautiously, a yoga instructor named Riley with a laugh like bells. "He's good," Wyatt reported. "Told me to tell you. Don't let the big apple swallow you whole."
Finn twinkled.
"Too late. But yeah, coming home soon as I can." The calls sustained, but distance gnawed. Wyatt's shifts ending with empty arms. Finn's sketches arriving via mail. Abstract lovers entwined, aching with separation. Weekends blurred. Wyatt crashing at Mason's for poker nights, beers and banter a bomb. Finn immersing in the scene, queer collectives and spoken word slams fueling his art, but loneliness creeping in voicemails left unheard. Midway, conflict ignited. A photo circulating on Instagram. Finn at a gallery afterparty. Arms slung around a lithe artist named Theo. Both flushed with wine, smiles too close. Anonymous tag. "Wyatt see this?" Homewrecker. It hit Wyatt's feed via a station gossip. ice in his veins as he zoomed in, Theo's hand on Finn's waist casual but damning. Call connected on the first ring. What the fuck, Finn? Silence. Then Finn's voice, sharp with hurt. Saw it. Is nothing. Theo's straight, married, just drunk happy. Why didn't you ask first? Wyatt's temper flared, betrayal's old wound reopening. Because it looks bad. And with your history, pride, remember? I trusted you out there alone. Alone? Finn's laugh was bitter. I'm working, not whoring. But sure, paint me the cheater. Maybe Derek was right, you never let go. The line went dead, Wyatt staring at the screen, regret crashing. Texts flew. Sorry. Panicked. Unread. Days stretched. Silence a chasm, until Mason intervened. Showing up with takeout, face stern. Saw the pic. Stupid but not betrayal. Call him. Fix it. Wyatt did. Voicemail pouring out. Apologies, vulnerabilities, love's fragility. Response came dawn, hurting. But I get it. Talk tomorrow? Reconciliation unfolded over video. Finn's loft messy with canvases. Eyes red-rimmed. I hate this, he admitted. The miles. Makes everything bigger. Wyatt nodded. Throat tight. Come home early. Money be damned. Finn wavered, then smiled faint. 2 weeks. Sold enough to justify. The gap closed. Airport reunion a collision. Wyatt enveloping Finn at baggage claim. Kiss desperate amid travelers. Hands fisting shirts like lifelines. Never again, Wyatt murmured into hair. Deal. Finn's grin against his neck. Homecoming healed in sheets and showers. Bodies rediscovering rhythms. Whispers mending fractures. Finn's residency wrapped triumphant. A mural commission for a Brooklyn center. Wings symbolizing migration, queer and migrant alike. Wyatt flew out for the unveiling. Pride swelling as crowds gathered. Finn's speech raw. Art's my freedom. Love's my anchor. Back in Seattle, summer simmered. Their rhythm sinking anew. Mason's relationship with Riley blossomed. Dinners for 4, hikes where laughter echoed off trails. But undercurrents stirred. Wyatt's captain retiring, pressure mounting for his replacement. Sleepless nights tallying pros and cons. Finn noticed, sketches turning introspective. Wyatt's face shadowed, compasses spinning. Take it, he urged over balcony wine. You're ready. Decision weighed, resolved in a storm-lashed night, thunder rumbling like doubt. Wyatt accepted, the office a new cage but wings clipped temporary. Fall brought harvest. Mateo's college acceptance, party at their place with the kid beaming in a hoodie too big. Finn mentored deeper, starting a workshop at the youth center, teaching Incus therapy. Wyatt joined once, awkward with a pen, but Finn's hand over his steadying, love in the lines. Yet climax loomed subtle, a letter from Finn's past, birth mother, located via a service requesting contact. Addressed to Mason first, forwarded with a note. Your call, kid. Finn's hands shook reading it, face ashen. She bailed when I was 2. Foster records said drugs, abuse. Why now? Wyatt held him on the couch, coffee untouched. You don't owe her, but if you want answers. Weeks churned. Therapy unpacking abandonment's roots. Mason's support fierce. She's not family. We are. Finn drafted letters undelivered. Dreams haunted by faceless women. Meeting set for a neutral cafe in Tacoma. Wyatt and Mason flanking like sentinels. She arrived, mid-40s, lined face, nervous fidget. Eyes Finn's mirror. I was lost, she said, voice quavering. Clean now. Want to know you. Conversation fractured. Her apologies hollow to Finn's scars deep, stories clashing. Love claimed but absent. I can't, Finn said finally, standing. You're a ghost. My life's full without you. Outside, rain sheeting he broke, sobs racking, Wyatt and Mason enveloping. Did right? Mason murmured. Strong like your old man wishes. Healing flowed. Finn channeling pain into art, a series of fractured wings, sold to a collector who championed recovery. Holidays glowed. Mason and Riley hosting, trees strung with lights, toasts to mended hearts. Winter's grip loosened to spring, renewal's breath. Wyatt's leadership steadied the station, commendations for a mass casualty drill. Finn's workshop thrived, Matteo assisting, cycle of compassion turning. But humanity's depth plumbed in quiet. A call from Harborview, Mason's checkup, shadow on a scan, precautionary. Panic spiked, tests blurring days, Wyatt and Finn tag-teaming support. Nights at the house, meals prepped, distractions in bad movies. Biopsy clear, benign cyst, relief crashing like waves. Mason hugged them tearful. Scared me straight. More hikes, less worry. Summer sealed growth. Anniversary trip to the San Juans, ferry rocking gentle, cabin nights stargazing. Love deepened, unshakable. Betrayals passed as footnotes. Identity's freedom at daily dawn. In America's vast heart, they endured. Romantic flames banked to enduring coals, dramatic tempests to calm seas, humanistic threads weaving eternal. The San Juan's islands floated like emeralds in the Salish Sea, an archipelago of quiet escapes where orcas breached sporadically, their spouts like fleeting miracles against the horizon. Wyatt and Finn's cabin perched on Lopez Island's edge, a weathered A-frame with windows framing salt marshes and madrona trees shedding red bark like autumn confetti. Their anniversary dawned misty, the third since vows on Alki, marked not with fanfare but intention. A week unplugged, phones silenced in a drawer, the world reduced to each other and the tide's rhythmic pull. Wyatt woke first, slipping from bed where Finn sprawled, sheet tangled low on hips, tattooed ribs rising slow. Coffee perked on the propane stove, aroma mingling with pine and brine as Wyatt stepped onto the deck, mug steaming in chilled air. Orcas weren't visible today, but seals basked on rocks below, grunts echoing up like lazy gossip. He thought of the years, the watch that birthed them, betrayals weathered, loves layered like sedimentary stone. At 31, Wyatt felt seasoned, not scarred. Finn at 25, wings fully unfurled. Footsteps creaked behind, Finn's arms encircling from back, chin hooking Wyatt's shoulder. Morning, husband. See anything? Just you in my periphery. Always the best view. Wyatt turned, kissing him languid, morning soft. No rush, hands wandering to pull him closer against the railing. The world blurred to lips and laps of water, desire stirring slow like the fog lifting. Breakfast stretched. Scrambled eggs with foraged mushrooms, toast charred over the fire pit, eaten on mismatched chairs with blankets draped. Conversation meandered, Finn's latest commission, a mural for the youth center expanding to include migrant stories. Wyatt's initiative at the station, peer support for queer first responders, inspired by their path. Matteo's leading a session next month, Wyatt said, pride warm. Kid's a natural. Finn's eyes lit, fork pausing. Full circle, from boosting cars to building futures. He reached across, fingers lacing. We did that. The day unfolded unscripted. Kayaks launched into the bay, paddles dipping syncopated. Laughter when a harbor seal popped up curious, whiskers twitching. Afternoon hike through Doe Bay's trails, ferns brushing calves, summit views of snow-capped peaks that stole breath. At the crest, Finn pulled a flask from his pack, whiskey smooth as secrets, passing it with a grin. To us, the long haul, Wyatt sipped, burn trailing warmth. To compasses, and the north they find. Dusk brought the hot tub, steam rising like spirits, bodies submerged to necks, jets bubbling tension away. Wine followed, Cabernet deep as twilight, stories spilling. What-ifs of alternate lives. Mason never deploying, the watch never happening. Finn's art in Europe, Wyatt trailing. Would have found you anyway, Finn murmured, head on Wyatt's chest, water lapping. Fate's got a gay agenda. Night fell star-pricked, bonfire crackling on the beach, driftwood snapping sparks heavenward. They roasted marshmallows, gooey messes on graham crackers, feeding bites with sticky fingers and kisses. Finn's voice turned serious then, flames dancing in his eyes. Been thinking, kids, not now but someday. Adopt like Mason did me. Give a kid what we didn't have. Wyatt's heart stuttered, marshmallow forgotten. Yeah, thought about it. Scary as hell, but with you, worth it. Sealed with a kiss, the future sketched in smoke and possibility. Back in Seattle, reintegration hummed. Fall's palette turning the city to burnished copper. Routines resuming with renewed vigor. Mason's relationship with Riley deepened. Talk of cohabitation. A cabin up in Index for weekends. Group hikes became tradition. For strong against the trails trials, bonds ironclad. But life's drama whispered. Wyatt's program at the station drew media. A local news spot on queer inclusion. Interviews where he credited Finn's art as catalyst. Airing caught them unawares. Finn watching teary from the kitchen. Proud doesn't cover it. Finn's mural unveiling coincided. A wall at the center blooming with wings. Diverse skins, genders fluid, breaking chains of silence. Crowds gathered, Mateo emceeing, Mason and Riley front row. Wyatt's speech followed Finn's. This isn't just art. It's identity reclaimed. Freedom fought for. Climax crested unexpected. A call from Tacoma. The birth mother, relapsed, hospital-bound, requesting Finn one last time. Not for forgiveness, the social worker said. For closure. She's fading. Finn agonized, pacing their living room, Wyatt and Mason flanking silent sentinels. Why drag me back? He raged, fists clenched. She chose out once. Mason's hand on shoulder. Your choice now. Whatever it is, we're here. Decision landed heavy, visit, but boundaries firm. Hospital room sterile, her form frail under sheets. Eyes meeting Finn's with regret's weight. Didn't deserve you, she whispered, voice reedy. But I see you now. Strong. Finn's throat bobbed, hand hovering before taking hers. Brief, electric. I am, because of the ones who stayed. No absolution but release, a severing gentle as tide. Outside, rain cleansing, he collapsed into Wyatt's arms, sobs cathartic. It's done. Free. Healing rippled. Finn's art turned luminous. Series on maternal voids filled by chosen ties, exhibited to acclaim. Holidays swelled inclusive. Thanksgiving with Riley's family, queer aunts spinning yarns. Christmas at the youth center, kids gifting drawings of winged saviors. Winter thawed to spring, renewals right. Wyatt's program expanded citywide. Collaborations with artists like Finn. Mateo's internship at the station, shadowing Wyatt, full circle etched. Yet humanism's core tested in quiet. Mason's proposal to Riley, beachside echo of theirs. Tears shared in the sand. Your turn inspired, he said, hugging. Thanks for showing how. Summer looped back, anniversary for a quiet hike in the Olympics, echoes of that first camping trip with Mason years prior. At the summit, overlooking valleys verdant, Finn pulled Wyatt close. Best decision. Saying yes to you. Wyatt kissed him, wind whispering assent. Every day. Years layered then, a montage soft-focused. Adoption papers signed for a 7-year-old girl, Sophia, with Finn's eyes and Wyatt's freckles. Foster scars her own but healing in hugs. Mason's wedding, Riley in white linen, vows mirroring theirs. Finn's gallery in Capitol Hill, wings adorning walls, youth workshops packed. Conflict came gentle. A move considered, Sophia's school in a suburb like Bellevue, but roots held Seattle's soil. Betrayals? Faded photographs, lessons etched. In America's tapestry, dramatic peaks, romantic valleys, emotional rivers, they flowed. Compassionate currents, identity's sovereign, freedom's hard one. Love, the truest humanism, enduring.